Hey, we're on page 114 today, How Machines Do Work. We're going to divide this chapter into two parts. I will try to get them to be quiet so maybe you can hear me. All right. Yo, people, quiet down for a minute. Okay, let's try it again. Anyway, page 114, we're going to divide it into two parts, today and tomorrow. No homework questions, okay? But you're going to have about 5 questions on your test. It's going to come from this chapter, okay? So pay attention to this, and when you hear me say things like, hey, that would be a good question, or I repeat it like 4 or 5 times, you might want to take notes, okay? That's one of those things. They won't, because they're not listening to any of this. You have got a captive audience here, okay? So here we go, all right? So here we go. Let's talk about it. This can get a little confusing, okay? The reason you do not have homework questions is, again, you're going to have about 5 questions come from this chapter on your test, okay? Your homework, instead of answering questions, is to reread. It's 114 to 117. And truthfully, you add up all the pictures and all, you've got about a page and a half of reading. Okay? Yes?
If I, write down, the key notes, you don't, you have to, read it again if you write down,
Son, here's the deal. I don't care if you read it again or not. Okay? It's just a suggestion. It's just a suggestion that I think will help you.
Yeah.
I'm not going to come to your house and make you read it again.
That would be fun.
Okay? It's entirely up to you. How you prepare for a test, if you got a way that works for you, then do that. Absolutely. Okay? So that's just a suggestion on my part. Okay? The more you see it, the more it's going to help stick into your brain. But if you've got another way to do it, that's fine. Absolutely. Okay? Absolutely. Okay? So we're starting to talk about machinery. And around this room, okay, the pencil trimmer over there, even though it doesn't work because somebody keeps breaking pencils off in it, that's not what it was made for, by the way, is a simple machine. Okay? The blinds, okay, to pull those up and lower them back down is a pulley system. That's a simple machine. Okay? The light switch is a lever, believe it or not. Okay? That globe that spins, okay?
That's an axis.
That's an axis. Okay? So it actually spins on an axis. Okay? So you've got all kinds of simple machines around us that we just take for granted every day. Okay? So what we're talking about today, though, is how do they do the work? Okay, the input, the output, and all that. This can get a little confusing. Okay? It talks about a load of soil for your school garden has been dumped 10 meters from the garden. Okay? How can you move the soil easily and quickly? Well, we could just all run out there and grab up some with our hands and run it across there.
Yeah!
But that's going to take a while. Okay? Using a shovel would make the job easier because each of us could carry more at a time. And if you had wheelbarrows, that would make it even easier. Okay? But be careful of what you think. Okay? Using a machine may make the work go faster, but it doesn't mean that you're doing less work. Okay? Because what is work?
Moving an object from a distance to a
The
distance.
distance and the time. Okay? Distance. Okay? And the amount of force and all that. Okay? So force and time or distance. So by doing that, you're moving it the exact same. It might take you longer. You might have to take more trips, but the idea is you're moving this pile of dirt from point A to point B. Doesn't matter how long it takes you. You did the exact same amount of work. Okay. Okay. So a machine, shovels, and a wheelbarrow are 2 examples of machines. Okay. A machine is a device that allows you to do work in a way that it's easier. How many of you ever thought about a shovel being a machine? Yeah, believe it or not, a shovel, a rake, all of those things are considered a simple machine.
What about a cup?
Okay? They're
Makes it
levels.
easier to drink.
Okay? They're levels.
What about a cup?
Okay?
Makes it easier to drink.
Okay? Now a cup's a cup. Okay? You may think of a machine as a complex gadget with motor, but a machine can be quite simple. For example, think about using a shovel. Okay? A shovel makes the work of moving soil easier, so a shovel is a machine. It becomes a lever, because you are the fulcrum.
So, like,
It pivots in your hand.
so a wrench is a machine?
Okay? It pivots in your hand.
Yes, Leo.
Okay?
A hammer is a machine.
Anything that makes your work easier, as long as you are applying the force.
But what
Okay?
if
Moving a pile of soil will involve the same amount of work whether you use your hands or a shovel. What a shovel or any other machine does is change the way in which work is done. Okay? A machine makes work easier by changing at least one of three factors. Okay? One of three factors. A machine may change the amount of force you exert, the distance over which you exert your force, or the direction in which you exert your force. In other words, a machine makes work easier by changing either force, distance, or direction. I repeat that. A machine makes work easier by changing either force, distance, or direction. A machine makes work easier by changing either force, distance, or direction. Okay? That is,
a very good question.
okay? Well, I was actually trying to answer
That's not helpful.
correctly,
Oh,
but you
wait,
found it.
wait.
All right.
Wait. Oh,
Input and output. Now this is where it can get a little complicated. When you use a machine to do work, you exert a force over some distance. Okay? For example, you exert a force on the shovel when you use it to lift the soil. The force you exert on the machine is called the input force. Okay? So if the force that you are putting on that machine to make it work is the input force. Okay? The input force moves the machine a certain distance called the input distance. The machine does not, the machine does work by exerting a force over another distance called the output distance. The force the machine exerts on an object is called the output force. Okay? I can promise you, you're not going to have a question on input and output force. I will tell you that. Okay? This gets very complicated. Okay? And we could spend a week trying to explain this one to you because it can get mind-boggling. Okay, if you're not careful, it really can. Okay. Input and output work. The input force times the force times the input distance is called the input work. The output force is the output distance called the output work. Okay. When you use a machine, the amount of output work can never be greater than the amount of input work. Okay. So the force I put on that shovel is the input. Okay, that's my input force. The output force is my walking it over to where I'm trying to put it. Okay? The output can never be more than the input. It can be less, but it can't be more. Okay? Why do you think if I was to give me a big old shovel full of dirt and I start walking to that back wall to dump it, why do you think my output might be less when I get there?
Because it's not really you're tired, but like you're running out of dirt. You can't do
No,
anything.
it has nothing to do with my energy.
Some dirt might scrape off.
What? What do you think?
Well, once you've already picked it up, you've already done the work, and then
That's the input. I got my input force. Now my output force is going to dump it. Why might my output force be less than my input? What do you think?
Because the pressure is running down, so it's not as much work.
Yeah. What do you think?
Work stays with you from point to point.
How about I spill some of the dirt on the way up there?
And that would
I
make
pick it up, that's my input. That's my force. But as I walk, dirt starts falling off.
wait. So
So the output would actually be a little bit less. Okay? So the output can never be more because I have never used a shovel where dirt ran and jumped on the shovel as I was walking with it. Okay?
Wait, so you would have to have as much dirt.
If I didn't spill any, it would be even. The input and the output would be even. But I have shoveled a lot of dirt and carried it with a shovel over distance, and trust me, I never get there with as much as I started off with.
But what if you could?
Then it would be equal. Your input and your output would be equal. But output cannot be more because dirt, there's no way dirt is going to get added.
Okay, so it could be equal, but it can never be more.
Exactly.
Unless you walk down a road.
It can be equal, but it cannot be more.
Shove dirt.
Okay?
What if someone puts more dirt on it?
Okay.
But like, what if it was like, not like this? Like, what if it was like a cup of like water or something? Like, and like you don't spill that all the way, like over there. Would it just be
It
even?
would be equal. It would be equal. Yes.
If you put more dirt on, then wouldn't the input force grow?
But I didn't, my input was not somebody coming up putting another handful of dirt on it.
Okay.
Okay?
Oh.
My input did not change.
Okay.
Somebody just added dirt. Okay? All right. Changing force. In some machines, the output force is greater than the input force. So how can this happen? We just said it couldn't happen. So how can that happen? Okay? Think about that water spigot right there. Okay? You turn that spigot, and it's got that little bitty skinny neck, but that thing is connected. It's opening up a bigger area.
And it's
Okay. So as I turn it, I don't have to turn it as far, and I'm covering more space. Think about a ramp, a handicap ramp. Okay, if the entryway is as high as that window, they don't build a ramp like this for someone in a wheelchair to try to reel it up. Okay, it comes out, and the longer the ramp is, the easier it is for that person to get up. That's why a lot of times a handicap ramp will come way down, almost the length of this room, and actually come around, and that maybe actually start here. And they actually go up, and it's a gradual incline, okay? Because they have stretched it out a greater distance. So therefore, it makes it easier, okay? It's covering a greater distance. The same amount of work's being done, you're covering the same area, okay? If you're trying to lift something that weighs 500 pounds and put it on the back of a truck that is as high as that window, that's going to be hard to do. If that truck has a ramp that you can pull out, and you start that 500-pound box here, pushing it up that ramp, it makes it easier.
But then again, 500 pounds.
Okay, it makes it easier. Well, I use a lot of weight because if I used to say if you 25 pounds, everybody went, well, I can take out 25 pounds.
Yeah. Fine.
Yeah. Completely missing the point that was trying to be made. So I had to up it to something that you couldn't pick up. And then I always have somebody go, 500 pounds, come on.
Fine.
So I can't win, okay?
Just give them 500 pounds.
Yes, Julia.
So the output force is stronger than the input force?
On this, on the work, on the speaking and things like that.
Oh,
Yeah.
that output.
Yeah. You have a small input, but it covers a larger distance. Okay? It covers a larger distance. Yes.
So basically, when you have like, for example, in that where the input force is smaller, it's technically the same amount. It's just spread over a bigger.
That's it. You
area.
nailed it. That's it.
Is that right?
That is it. You just nailed it, man. That's it. You're exactly right.
Because you have to
You are exactly right. You nailed it. Okay? See, that's what happens when you actually read along and think. I'm not saying that. I didn't say everyone in here didn't get it. I just said that's what happens when you do.
I just don't
See, it's amazing how I can compliment someone and the rest of you think I just slapped you.
Exactly.
I just said that's what happens when you use logic and reasoning and you think through things. I didn't say everyone in here didn't do it. I just said that's what happens when you do. And immediately, no. What? I mean, good for you. If you did it, good. I'm happy for you. Really, I am. I mean, you know, my job is complete. I can now quit. All right, changing distance. In some machines, the output force is less than the input force. Okay, think about chopsticks. Okay, if I had to eat with chopsticks, I would weigh like 38 pounds. I would starve to death. I cannot eat with chopsticks. No, I mean, I would be trying to stab my rice, but I can't do it.
I can eat sushi.
I've seen people do it. I mean, but the thing is, think about if you eat with chopsticks, you hold them back here. You working right here, but down here is where all that force is being applied. So your movement up here is very small, but down here, okay, input, output. Okay, input, output. See how that works?
Wait, so is it kind
It's
of
a
like
little bit more. Okay.
Kurt Sizemore, is it kind of like when you do a small amount, like the small amount of work that you do make something else bigger?
Sometimes, depending on the machinery. Okay. But in some machines, the output force is less than the input force. Why would you use a machine like this? The kind of machine that allows you to exert your input force over a shorter distance. And that is that. Think about if you guys have played hockey and PE. You will. Some of you will get out there, and one of the rules is you can't lift that thing above your waist if you get to play, because somebody will get there thinking that it's like a golf club, and you're going to hit that thing further. You don't. Okay. Actually, the shorter distance right there, with a good smack shot there, or slap shot as they call it, it actually makes that thing go better than if you come way back here. Because way back here you don't hit it as well. Okay? It's that short little shot. Okay? So a short input creates a better output. Okay?
You have glitter on you.
Yes.
So it says when a machine increases the distance, that you have to apply a greater for input force. So is that how that works?
That is. You're actually doing a greater input with that short distance smack shot or slap shot than you are if you come way back here. Believe it or not, you're actually that because you're hitting the puck more head on. Way back here, you're either going to hit the ground first and just barely get it, or you're going to top it, or something like that. Kind of like me trying to hit a golf ball.
What if you hit it perfectly right?
You're not going to. You watch the NFL. They don't run around that stick up above their head, slapping, swinging it.
Yeah, I
Okay,
know.
everything is right here, baby, right here. Okay, because they have figured out that's where the power comes from. Okay,
I bet the noob is just like.
I said NFL.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah. Yeah, you can watch football players all day long, and if they got sticks, there's a problem. Okay. Okay. All right. Changing direction. Some machines don't change either force or distance. Well, what could be the advantage of these machines? Well, think about the weight machine. You can stand and lift the weight, but it's much easier to sit on the machine and pull down, okay, by running a steel cable over a small wheel, which is called a pulley, by the way. And you pull down, and you can lift the weight, okay? You're creating, I mean, you're still working the muscles. You're just not lifting. You're actually pulling, but you're moving the weight the same distance. The same amount of weight, the same distance, okay? Some machines you still want to pull up because it depends on the muscle. I saw some of you looking at me, some of you bodybuilders out there. Yes, it's different movements, works different muscles, okay? I know, but we're talking science here, okay? Okay, we're not talking about your bodybuilding expeditions here.
Yeah, so
Okay.
it's the same amount of force.
Yeah, the input direction and the output direction is pretty basically the same. Okay, you're coming down, it's coming up. As you go up, it comes down.
So then, like, if the output direction was the same as the input direction, then, you know, it wouldn't be the same. It has to
Yes.
be, for that to work, it has to be each one going in a different direction.
That's it. You got this. Okay, that's as far as we're going to go today. Okay,
Yeah.
figure out a way to study. Figure out a way to look this over. Again, this is not going to be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe he's put this on a test type of thing. But
You did like tell us what.
yeah, I do want you to, it's not quite time. You got about 2 minutes. Yes, sir.
This is what I like all of it. I like
That's fine. Look, Braxton, everyone works for you. Hi. I forgot this was running, so I was checking the time and answering questions. Hope you enjoy your day. Bye.